Hey everybody, I'm Chris Massey and welcome to the Chris Massey Music Show here on the American Hearts Radio Network. We're coming to you live tonight from our studio here in downtown Atlanta. Tonight is episode 15 of season 2 and the 31st overall episode of the Chris Massey Music Show. We are glad you are all here. Okay, well, let's see what's in the news. We have one Republican debate in the books now, and Donald Trump has still got a commanding 2-digit lead over everybody else. I mean, people were saying, you know, that once that debate happened that he was going to crash and burn. Well, it doesn't look like that is going to be the case. And I got to tell you, in this field that they've got out there right now, I don't see anybody challenging him or in any position to take him over anytime soon. Now, on the Hillary side, of course, the Republican witch hunt is in full blast, going after her with the email scandals and all this other stuff and everything. And here's what I can tell you. It is obvious to me that the Republicans feel like that their best chance to win in 2016 is to get Hillary out of the race, you know, and I don't know if anything is going to materialize from any of this. My guess is that it will not. And the bad news for the Republicans is this is happening a year before the election. So if they go ahead and get it all taken care of now, by the time next November or even when the caucuses start next February, it will be long forgotten. Now, I talked to a lot of Republicans here in Atlanta. I have a lot of Republican friends, believe it or not. Well, I consider them friends. I don't know if they feel that way about me. But anyway, you know, when they talk about the Republican Party in the South, they always talk about the people that live here in Metro Atlanta. And that is just not indicative of the Republicans here in the southeastern United States. I mean, in Atlanta, Georgia, you have more moderate Republicans and more liberals, for that matter, than in any area in the southeastern United States. There's no place like Atlanta in Louisiana or Mississippi or Alabama or Arkansas or South Carolina or Tennessee or Kentucky. Now, don't say Florida. The Yankees invaded that place a long time ago. I mean, for crying out loud, Obama carried Florida in the last election. He didn't even get a sniff in these other places. So other than the fact that they're hanging below us, it's really not the South. You know what I'm saying? Now, in all these other areas, what you have got are the RRHRRs. Now, Al, do you know what the RRHRRs are? Do you? You want me to tell you what it is? Do you want me to tell you what it is? The RRHRRs are the religious, racist, homophobic, rebel flag waving rednecks. That's right. And that is who makes up a good deal of the Southern Republicans. And what do these guys do? They scare the hell out of independents everywhere across this country. If you don't believe me, in the last election there were 11 swing states up for grabs and the Republicans lost every single one of them. So when these guys are up there protesting the rebel flag or gay marriage or whatever it is they do when they're handling snakes and all that other stuff, you know, it scares people who are kind of on the fence. Now, the other thing is this, you know, and I was thinking about this when I was watching the debate the other night. Somebody needs to tell these Republicans that women are allowed to vote. You know, it's unbelievable some of the things these guys are saying. I mean, if you're a single woman, why would you vote Republican, you know, unless you're super pro-life? You know, I mean, they want to take away your right to choose, and they don't support any legislation for equal pay for women. In the last election, single women voted Democrat 68%. And from the looks of that debate the other night, I don't think that is going to change. But the other thing is they just have no policies for the middle class. I mean, they don't. I mean, Hillary Clinton and the Democrats, they do want to give 2 free years of community college to students. They do want to raise the minimum wage, and single women make up a big population in the people that make minimum wage. So if you think you're going to put somebody out there and he's going to get up there and say, well, we're going to cut taxes on the rich and they're going to create jobs for everybody else, later on in the show I'll give you Mitt Romney's phone number and you can call him and ask him how well that worked for him in the last election. Okay. So I got people, they always say to me, Chris, how in the world could you vote for Hillary? Why in the world would you vote for Hillary Clinton? Come on. This is coming from somebody that voted for George W. Dumbass 2 times. You got no right whatsoever to talk about who I'm voting for. Like I said a long time ago, and I still stick by it, I think George Bush set the Republican Party back 16 years. That's what I think. I think it'll be 16 years before we have another Republican president. If you go back in history to 1932 when Herbert Hoover, who was a Republican, and Calvin Coolidge, who was a Republican that served 2 years before him, and they steered this country right into the Great Depression, it was 20 years before there was another Republican president. So just because down here in the South you people don't see no way in the world it can happen doesn't mean that it's not going to. But, there's no reason for you to get upset. You can sit back and relax and find comfort in the fact that you don't know what the hell you're talking about. All right, we got a great show tonight. My good friend, drummer Mark Krause is here, and we're going to be giving Kanye West a guitar lesson, so stick around. We'll be right back.
Are you looking for a great night out? Are you in the Atlanta, Georgia area? Are you looking to check out some live, awesome music during the week? They have keynote, poker tournaments, horseshoes, and special events. It's all at the Moon Shadow Tavern. That's at 3976 Lawrenceville Highway in Tucker, Georgia. That's the Moon Shadow Tavern. Give them a call, 770-674-2133. Check out their selection of great food, friendly service. Visit their website at msttucker.com. That's www.msttucker.com. Moon Shadow Tavern is a proud sponsor of the Chris Massey Web TV Music Show on www.americanheartsradio.com. Make sure you told them that American Hearts Radio sent you. Visit their website, check out their great selection of food, appetizers, wings, burgers, sandwiches and wraps, steaks and chicken, salads and sides. Also their drink specials. Live music during the week. Check them out. Give them a call, 770-674-2133.
All right, we're back. Well, in the news last week, I saw where Kanye West was at it again. He's out there saying that he is the greatest musician that has ever walked on the planet. Where does this guy get the balls? I tell you what. So anyway, Kanye, if you're going to be the greatest musician, you're going to have to learn how to play an instrument. And as far as I know, you don't know how to play one. So I'm going to help you out a little bit tonight. Kanye, I want you to get your guitar out. That's it. No, wait a minute. You got it upside down. Turn it over. There you go. All right. Now, Kanye, this is a guitar, and this is what most songwriters or a lot of songwriters use to compose music on. Now, these little squares on here are what we call frets, and these things right here are called strings, okay? There you go. All right, now what we're going to do tonight, Kanye, is I'm going to show you how to make a G chord. Okay, so you're going to take your index finger and put it on this next to the top string in the second fret. That's it. Okay. Now, and then take your third finger and put it on the top string in the third fret, and your ring finger on the bottom string in the third fret as well, and you strum it in. You have the G chord. Now, you'll notice, Kanye, that the finger formation for this G chord is an awful lot like this. Okay? So if you ever get confused about how to make the G chord, just go back to this right here. Okay, I'm sure you've seen this formation a lot, and you probably made it a few times. So when you get lost on the G chord, just remember this, and you can see it goes right back into place on the fretboard. Now, what I also do, and I will show you a D chord, and then you can do something like this. Now, what you can do when you're doing this, Kanye, is you can get that pretty wife of yours to shake her big ass while you're playing this in your living room. The way I figure, your music doesn't entertain anybody, so you might as well be able to entertain yourself. Okay, Kanye, join us next time when I will show you how to hold a note without using auto-tune. We'll be right back.
You're watching the Chris Massey Music Show. And by the way, I'm Johnny Van Zant, Leonard Skinner.
It's Lee Leon Smoker with Rachel Jordon.
I just want to celebrate another day of living. I just want to celebrate another day of life.
Hey, man, I really appreciate you picking me up, man.
How do you not have any food at your house?
Well, you know, man, I meant to get some the other night when I went out to buy some weed, and I guess I just forgot.
Well, what do you want?
I don't care, man.
Burger Deluxe?
Yeah, that's cool.
All right.
Welcome to Burger Deluxe. May I take your order?
Yeah, man. I'll have a pepperoni pizza and a meatball sub.
I'm sorry, sir. We don't serve pizza here.
Well, okay then, man. Well, then I'll just have the sub.
Leon, they don't have Italian food here.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, hey, man, let me get some fried chicken, man.
They don't have fried chicken either.
What about that?
Burgers and fries. It's Burgers Deluxe.
Oh, why'd we come here?
Because you said you wanted to.
I did, didn't I?
Yes.
All right, man. Well, let me get a burger and a fry.
One Burger Deluxe and one regular fry. $6.50.
Okay, Leon. $6.56.
Well, why are you telling me?
Don't tell me you don't have any money.
Okay.
You don't have any money?
Well, man, you told me not to tell you.
Oh, my.
Thank you very much. Come again.
Here. You're a pain in my ass, Leon.
Thanks, man.
What are you doing?
What's it look like I'm doing? I'm rolling up a joint. I like to smoke one before I eat, man. It makes the food taste better.
You've got 2 seconds to put that pot away.
Man, I tell you what, the next time that I need someone to come pick me up, man, and drive me somewhere and buy me some food, you're going to be the last person I call.
You know what? You're an idiot.
American Hearts Radio and the Chris Massey Music Show present the Tuckerville Pop Festival with barbecue, beer, and great music. Saturday, August 29th, 2015, the Elks Lodge, 1775 Montreal Road, Tucker, Georgia. Gates open at noon. Admission is $15 at the gate. Plenty of parking, coolers admitted, no alcohol admitted through the gate. Music starts from 1 till 10 with the great music of the Swimming Pool Cues, Shaking Grace, the Chris Massey Band, the Squirrelheads, the Downtown Executives, the Rain Men, Joe Hall, and Who's Rolling? That's at Tuckerville Pop Festival. Saturday, August 29th, 2015, the Elks Lodge, 1775 Montreal Road, Tucker, Georgia. Gates open at noon. Admission is $15 at the gate. Plenty of parking, coolers admitted, no alcohol admitted through the gate. Music starts from 1 till 10.
All right, we're back. Thanks for tuning in tonight. And once again, that's the Tuckerville Pop Festival. It'll be on Saturday, August the 29th at the Elks Lodge on Montreal Road in Tucker, Georgia. It starts at 1 o'clock. It's going to go till 10. The show is outside in the parking lot. We've got a giant stage with lights, and the Elks people will be cooking up some good barbecue. There'll be cold beer there at $4 for a 16-ounce pour, as well as some soft drinks. You can bring coolers in, but you are not allowed to bring any alcohol. It's basically a street party, so bring your lounge chairs or umbrellas. It's probably going to be a little hot, and you can go in and out. So if you want to come see a band early in the day and you want to leave and then come back, we'll stamp you, and you'll be able to do that. There has been some changes in the lineup. Of course, the great Swimming Pool Cues will be headlining the show. Shaking Grace, unfortunately, was not able to make it, so we were able to get Ralph Roddenberry, who will be there. The Chris Massey Band will be there. The Squirrelheads, the Downtown Executives, the Rainman, Joe Hall, Who's Rolling, and we have added Flat Rock Swing, a very fine Americana band that will get the festival kicked off at 1 o'clock. That's Saturday, August the 29th. Okay, my guest tonight, I first saw play drums when I was in the 8th grade. He was in one of the biggest rock bands in Atlanta back then in 1976. Then when I became a musician and started playing in the music scene, he was still out there doing it. I've been a fan of his forever, and he also did a year or so with the Chris Massey Band and went on the road with me and played the tour across America last summer. He currently beats the skins for the Downtown Executives. Would you please welcome my good friend, Mr. Mark Krause. Hey,
good to see you.
Come on in, buddy. Right. Come on in.
Here we are.
Come on in.
Okay.
All right. Now, as I was saying, Mark, when I was in the 8th grade, this is 1975, everybody was telling me they got this band called Pranks. They're playing in the cafeteria. You need to go. And I went and was just blown away. I mean, you guys could do Led Zeppelin like nobody's business. Queen, Heart, stuff that other bands weren't doing. You were killer on the drums. You had Rob, what was his name?
Rob Brissett.
Rob Brissett on bass. Awesome. And Steve Barnes, probably one of the best Robert Plant type vocalists you can find. And Brendan O'Brien, the young Brendan O'Brien at 15 years old on guitar. And, of course, Brendan has gone on to produce records for Bruce Springsteen, Pearl Jam, and Stone Temple Pilots. And was that your entry into the music business, that band? Was that the first big band that you played in?
Actually, I'd played in several others before then. This was like the biggest crossover that got things going rock-wise.
Right.
I had started at age 13 playing on sidewalks with other bands, playing your subdivision parties, and then
grocery store grand openings.
Yeah, exactly. And of course, in the 70s, you didn't have any of the networking that we have now with social media. So, hey, I know this guy, I know this guy, I know this guy. And that's pretty much how you got with other musicians.
Right.
And it led to the Prank situation in 1976 as a senior in high school. So.
That's right. Now, you guys were doing a lot of work down in underground Atlanta. I know y'all were really big at the Mad Hatter. I used to hear it on 96 Rock. Pranks is going to be there Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. You played the front page. Back in those days, if you were really good, I mean, you could go and play a high school dance and rake in $1,500–1,600.
Absolutely.
And you guys played all the high schools. I know I followed you around to several of them to see you guys play. You also went down to Florida.
Yes.
And did a lot of work down there. Now, Brendan told me one year when him and I went to Florida that in 1978 that you guys as a band grossed over $80,000.
That would probably be a pretty fair figure.
As a bar band.
A little bit more. As a bar band.
In 1978.
And we did the OP chain down in Florida, which was, you didn't even have to leave the state of Florida.
Right.
You pretty much, they had Jacksonville, they had Miami, 2 or 3 other locations I can't think of off the top of my head, but we never left the state of Florida.
Well, now Brendan in 1978, I believe he was only 17, and I think he told me that he saw about $14,000 of that money. And but minimum wage was $2.30 an hour, and he's making $14,000 playing rock and roll music. I mean, that was a pretty good gig.
Yeah, my father was still thinking, when does college fit into this equation? But I said, but the money's so good and it's tax free.
Right.
At the end of the week, it's a cash paycheck. So.
Now you guys saw the writing on the wall that a lot of bands did not see, and a lot of these musicians got left behind. You and Brendan saw that the original music scene in the late '70s in Atlanta was really starting to kick, and you guys basically walked away from one of the most successful cover bands in Atlanta at that time and formed a band called Samurai Catfish.
That is correct.
Okay, and you formed this band basically with other guys you went to high school with.
It's funny how this, going back to the networking situation, it's picking up the phone, knowing this person, knowing this guy. But, going back to seeing the writing on the wall, you reach that point. I mean, we'd already had the financial success.
Right.
But we reached that point, musically, it was not going to turn into, an original band that was going to be a recording band. And at that point, it was time to go. And everyone went their, separate directions.
Now, the great thing about the Tucker music scene was you had Greg Simonton, a Tucker alumni, singing. You had John Broderick on bass, who still plays with you in the Downtown Executives. I believe you had Steven Skipper who is a friend of the show. He's the front man of the Jagged Stones tribute band, and Mark Robinson.
That's correct.
Mark Robinson was playing keyboards and playing sax with you guys. Now, and to make all this work, of course, you needed a recording studio, and a guy that went to Tucker named Joe Perry owned Bombay recording studios in Smyrna, and everybody recorded there back in the days. The Roys, the Satellites, REM did one of their first recordings ever there, and you guys were able to go in there and make some tapes, and in no time you were playing the Agora Ballroom. I know I saw you at C.W. Shaw's and some of these other places, and that lasted for a while, and then like all good things with bands, it kind of came to an end. Comes to an end. I saw you later on playing with a group called the Famous Unknowns. Which had Rick Richards, guitars for the Georgia Satellites.
Keith Christopher
was in that band. Keith Christopher, and I saw you playing with RF and the Radar Angels.
Yes.
And doing some stuff, and then so what happens for Mark Krause after all these bands end in the early '80s?
You know, I reached this point where, of course, there's Dad.
Right.
And it's, when are you going to go back to school? When are you going to go do something with your life? And I did. I did eventually go back to college. And, of course, I did do a stint in New York City.
Right.
Where I moved up to work with the original Pranks members, Brendan O'Brien, Robert Brissett, Steve Barnes. A year of that in New York City, as we all know, it's quite expensive to try and survive.
We got to touch on this. You guys were working in New York City, and you were working with Felix Pappalardo as
correct.
A producer, the bass player for Mountain. For Mountain, Mississippi Queen fame. And while you're working on your project, Felix Pappalardo is tragically murdered by his wife.
That's correct. And that was pretty much where things just, the train fell off the tracks.
Right.
And as we know in this industry, especially in the early 80s, it's a who-you-know industry.
Sure. Still is.
And, yeah, it is. But in Felix's passing, things just started to fall apart. And I think in late 1983, I moved back to Atlanta and decided to go back to college. And took many years off from the music industry. And
I did the same thing. I was out of it for about 15 years, and I was married, raising my daughter, and I got back into it about 10 years ago. So you're out there just playing when doing some pickup gigs, playing whenever you can, and then you did a stint with me in the Chris Massey Band.
That's correct.
And we last summer we went on the Chris Massey Band tour across America, where we started in Nashville. Went to Jacksonville, Alabama, Dallas, Texas, Phoenix, Arizona. We did a gig at the Whiskey A Go-Go in Hollywood, California. We played Las Vegas, Denver, Colorado, Wichita, and Tulsa, Oklahoma. 5,700 miles in 10 days. 9 gigs, 1 day off.
1 day off.
1 day off. I remember we stopped. We had played in Jacksonville, Alabama, and we had to drive all night to get to Dallas after the gig, because we had a gig there in Dallas at night. It's about a 14-hour drive.
It was 14 hours.
And we stopped at this gas station in Jackson, Mississippi, and we were in this black Chevy Suburban. And I've got this on video if you don't believe me. And there was another black Suburban parked in the parking lot.
That's a good story.
And we went in the convenience store, and Mark had been asleep, and Mark went out of the convenience store and got into the wrong car.
I did. I got into the wrong car. I was half asleep. I'll never forget the look on that woman's face. She said, "What the hell is this guy doing in my car?" And at that point, I think I saw you from across the parking lot.
I did. I was filming. And I said, "What are you doing?" I said, "You didn't notice it. We didn't have a U-Haul trailer hooked up to the back of it,
Yeah, a little mid-age fatigue,
That's right.
After so many miles. But
a tour like that is the only time in your life when you can eat fast food 3 times a day. And come home and you lost 5 pounds. That's the way it was. It was something that I will always remember. Now you're playing with the Downtown Executives, and you guys are going to be at the Tuckerville Pop Festival.
Yes.
And this is going to be a really good time. I was always a big Downtown Executive fan, and since you and John have come into the band with Mike and Bobby, it's certainly got a more hard rocking sound. It's very entertaining. We do shows at the Moonshadow Tavern couple times a year, and it's always a good time, and I know it's going to be a good time there at the at the Tuckerville Pop
We
Festival.
are looking forward to it, and tell everybody out there to get on out to the Pop Festival and bring every your friends. We're expecting a big turnout.
It's going to be awesome. Mark Krause, everybody. You have to come back and see me.
Yes.
All right. We'll be right back.
It's in a tight spot. He needs a liver transplant. So we're asking for anybody who has a nickel, a dime, a penny, whatever the heck you want, that's appreciated, to send it to the Jimmy Van Zandt Give the Life charity at 1808 Clinch Place, Old Hickory, Tennessee, 37138. I'm reading this, by the way. And you can also give to www.jimmyvanzandtgivethelife.charity.com. So anyway, God bless you guys. Hope to see you out on the road. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, whatever it is. God bless you.
Hey, I'm Leon Smoker.
And I'm Rachel Jordon.
And I'm Moses Moe from Mother's Finest.
And you're watching the Chris Massey Music Show.
Hey man, you remember that time when you guys opened for Aerosmith? I do.
Man, that was awesome. All right, we're back. For being a guest on the Chris Massey Music Show, my guest, Mark Krause, will receive a 6-month supply of rice-a-roni, the San Francisco treat, and a case of turtle wax. That's right. Just see Ray, the security guard, down in the lobby, and he will get you your door prizes. All right, on the next Chris Massey Music Show, I will have songwriter Tom Hill. Tom does some great stuff over at the Tucker Saloon. He's got a new CD that's going to be coming out, so we're going to be talking a little songwriting and some other things on the show. Al, good job as always, my friend. And like I always say, always love your woman. Take life as it comes, and when you get the chance, have too much fun. We'll see you next time.